So, dear friends, today's performance is dedicated to the memory of George Ogilvy and Bill Charlton. To me, dear friend, you can never be old, for as you were when first your eye I eyed, such seems your beauty still. 3 winters cold have from the forest shook 3 summers' pride, 3 beauteous springs to yellow autumn turned. In process of the seasons have I seen 3 April perfumes and 3 hot Junes burned, since first I saw you fresh, which yet are green. Ah, yet doth beauty, like a dial hand, steal from his figure, at no pace perceived. So your sweet hue, which methinks still doth stand, hath motion, and my eyes may be deceived. For fear of which, hear this, thou age unbred. Ere you were born, was beauty's summer dead.
Is it for fear to wet a widow's eye that thou consumest thyself in single life? Ah, if thou issueless shalt have to die, the world will wail thee like a makeless wife. The world will be thy widow and still weep that thou no form of thee hast left behind, when every private widow may keep by children's eyes her husband's shape in mind. Look, what an unthrift in the world doth spend shifts but its place, for still the world enjoys it. But beauty's waste hath in the world an end, and kept unused, the user so destroys it. No love towards others in that bosom sits, than on himself such murderous shame commits.
Who will believe my verse in time to come if it were filled with your most high deserts? Though yet heaven knows it, but as a tomb, which hides your life and shows not half your part. If I could write the beauty of your eyes, and in fresh number all your graces, the age to come would say, this poet lies, such heavenly touches never touched earthly faces. So should my papers, yellowed with their age, be scorned like old men of less truth than tongue, and your true rights be termed a poet's rage and stretched metre of an antique song. But were some child of yours alive that time, you should live twice, in it and in my rhyme.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal beauty shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. As long as men can breathe and eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
As an unperfect actor on the stage, who with his fear is set beside his part, or some fierce thing, replete with too much rage, whose strength abundance weakens his own heart. So I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's rite, and in mine own love's strength seem to decay, Oh, charge with the burthen of mine own love's might. Oh, let my looks be then the eloquence, and dumb presages of my speaking breast, who plead for love and look for recompense, more than that tongue, that more hath more expressed. Oh, learn to read what silent love hath writ. To hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit.
When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me more like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. Yet, in these thoughts, myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark, at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love, remembered, such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings.
Take all my loves, my love, yea, take them all. What hast thou then more than thou hadst before? No love, my love, that thou mayst true love call. All mine was thine before thou hadst this more. Then, if for my love thou my love receivest, I cannot blame thee for my love thou usest. But yet, be blamed if thou this self deceivest by wilful taste of what thyself refusest. I do forgive thy robbery, gentle thief, although thou steal thee all my poverty. And yet love knows it is a greater grief to bear love's wrong than hate's known injury. Lascivious grace, in whom all ill well shows, kill me with spites, yet we must not be foes.
How heavy do I journey on the way, when what I seek my weary travels end, doth teach that ease and that repose to say, thus far the miles are measured from thy friend. The beast that bears me, tired with my woe, plods dully on to bear that weight in me, as if by some instinct the wretch did know his rider loved not speed, being made from thee. The bloody spur cannot provoke him on, that sometimes anger thrusts into his hide, which heavily he answers with a groan. More sharp to me than spurring to his side. For that same groan doth put this in my mind. My grief lies onward, and my joy behind.
What is your substance? Wherefore are you made, that millions of strange shadows on you tend? Since every one hath every one shade, and you but one can every shadow lend. Describe Adonis, and the counterfeit is poorly imitated after you. On Helen's cheek all art of beauty set, and you in Grecian tires are painted new. Speak of the spring and foison of the year. The one doth shadow of your beauty show, the other as your bounty doth appear, and you in every blessed shape we show. In all external grace you have some part, but you like none you for constant heart.
Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore, so do our minutes hasten to their end. Each changing place with that which goes before, in sequent toil all forward do contend. Nativity, once in the main of light, crawls to maturity, wherewith being crowned, crooked eclipses gainst his glory fight, and time that gave doth now his gift confound. Time doth transfix the flourish set on youth, and delves in parallels in beauty's brow, feeds on the rarities of nature's truth, and nothing stands but for his scythe to mow. And yet, in times, in hope, my verse shall stand, praising thy worth, despite his cruel hand.
Ah, wherefore with infection should he live? And with his presence grace impiety, that sin by him advantage should achieve, and lace itself with his society. Why should false painting imitate his cheek, and steal dead seeing of his living hue? Why should poor beauty indirectly seek roses of shadow, since his rose is true? Why should he live, now nature bankrupt is, beggared of blood to blush through lively veins? For she hath no exchequer now but his, and proud of many lives upon his gains. Oh, him she stores to show what wealth she had in days long since, before these last so bad.
No longer mourn for me when I am dead. Then you shall hear the surly sullen bell give warning to the world that I am fled from this vile world with vilest worms to dwell. Nay, if you read this line, remember not the hand that writ it, for I love you so, that I in your sweet thoughts would be forgot, if thinking on me then should make you woe. Oh, if I say, you look upon this verse, when I perhaps am compounded with clay, do not so much as my poor name rehearse, but let your love, even with my life, decay, lest the wide world should look into your moan and mock you with me after I am gone.
That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare ruined choirs where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. this thou perceiv'st, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long.
Farewell. Thou art too dear for my possessing, and like enough thou knowest thy estimate. The charter of thy worth gives thee releasing. My bonds in thee are all determinate. But how do I hold thee but by thy granting? And for that riches, where is my deserving? The cause of this fair gift in me is wanting, and so my patent back again is swerving. Thyself thou gavest, thine own worth then not knowing, or me to whom thou gavest it else mistaking. So thy great gift, on misprision growing, comes home again, on better judgment making. Thus if I had thee, as a dream doth flatter, in sleep a king, but waking, no such matter.
Say that thou didst forsake me for some fault, and I will comment upon that offence. Speak of my lameness, and I straight will halt against thy reasons, making no defence. Thou canst not, love, disgrace me half so ill, to set a form upon desired change, as I'll myself disgrace. Knowing thy will, I will acquaintance strangle, and look strange, be absent from thy walks, and in my tongue thy sweet beloved name no more shall dwell, lest I, too much profane, should do it wrong, and haply of our old acquaintance tell. For thee, against myself I'll vow debate, for I must ne'er love him whom thou dost hate.
Some say thy fault is youth, some wantonness. Some say thy grace is youth and gentle sport. Both grace and faults are loved of more and less. Thou makest false graces that to thee resort, as on the finger of a throned queen, the basest jewel will be well esteemed. So are those errors that in thee are seen, to truths translated, and for true things deemed. How many lambs might the stern wolf betray, if like a lamb might the stern wolf, if like a lamb he could his looks translate? How many gazers mightst thou lead away, if thou wouldst use the strength of all thy state? But do not so. I love thee in such sort, as thou being mine, mine is thy good report.
Where art thou, Muse, that thou forget so long to speak of that which gives thee all thy might? Spend'st thou thy fury on some worthless song, darkening thy power to lend these then base subjects light? Return, forgetful Muse, and straight redeem in gentle numbers time so idly spent. Sing to the ear that doth thy lays esteem, and gives thy pen both skill and argument. Rise, restive Muse, my love's sweet face survey, if time have any wrinkle graven there, if any be a satire to decay, and make time's spoils despised everywhere. Give my love fame faster than time wastes life, so thou prevents his scythe and crooked knife.
From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease, his tender air might bear his memory. But thou, contracted to thine own bright eyes, feeds daylight's flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies. Thyself, thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel. Thou that art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald of the gaudy spring, within thine own bud buryest thy content, and tender chill makest waste and niggarding. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due, by the grave in thee.
Let not my love be called idolatry, nor my beloved as an idol show, since all alike my songs and praises be to one, of one, still such, and ever so. Kind is my love today, tomorrow kind, still constant in a wondrous excellence. Therefore, my verse to constancy confine, one thing expressing, leaves out difference. Fair, kind, and true is all my argument. Fair, kind, and true, varying to other words, and in this change is my invention spent. Three themes in one, which wondrous scope affords. Fair, kind, and true have often lived alone, which three, till now, never kept seat in one.
When in the chronicles of wasted time, I see descriptions of the fairest wights and beauty making beautiful old rhymes in praise of ladies dead and lovely knights, then in the blazon of sweet beauty's best, of hand, of foot, of lip, of eye, of brow, I see their antique pen would have expressed even such a beauty as you, master, now. So all their praises are but prophecies of this our time, all you prefiguring. And for they looked, but with divining eyes, they had not skill enough your worth to sing. For me, which now beholds this present days, had eyes to wonder, but black tongues to praise.
Not mine own fears, nor the prophetic soul of the wide world, dreaming on things to come, can yet the lease of my true love control, supposed as forfeit to a confined doom. The mortal moon hath her eclipse endured, and the sad augurs mock their own presage. Uncertainties now crown themselves assured, and peace proclaims olives of endless age. Now with the drops of this most balmy time, my love looks fresh, and death to me subscribes. In spite of him, I'll live in this poor rhyme while he insults our dull and speechless tribes. And thou in this shalt find thy monument when tyrants' crests and tombs of brass are spent.
Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters what it alteration finds, or bends with a remover to remove. Oh no! It is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown although his height be taken. Love's not time's full, the rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out, even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved.
Accuse me thus, that I have scanted all wherein I should your great deserts repay, forgot upon your dearest love to call, whereto all bonds do tie me day by day, that I have frequent been with unknown minds and given to time your own dear purchased right, that I have hoisted sail to all the winds which should transport me farthest from your sight. Book both my wilfulness and errors down, and on just proof surmise accumulate. Bring me within the level of your frown, but shoot not at me in your wakened hate, since my appeal says I did strive to prove the constancy and virtue of your love.
If my dear love were but the child of state, it might, for fortune's bastard, be unfathered, weeds among weeds, or flowers with flowers gathered. No, it was builded far from accident. It suffers not in smiling pomp, nor falls under the blow of thralled discontent, whereto the inviting time our fashion calls. It fears not policy, that heretic, which works on leases of short-numbered hours, but all alone stands hugely politic, that it nor grows with heat, nor drowns with showers. To this I witness call the fools of time, which die for goodness, who have lived for crime.
The expense of spirit in a waste of shame is lust in action. And till action, lust is perjured, murderous, bloody, full of blame, savage, extreme, rude, cruel, not to trust, enjoyed no sooner but despised straight, past reason hunted, and no sooner had past reason hated, on purpose, like as a swallowed bait, on purpose laid to make the taker mad, mad in pursuit, and in possession so, had, having, and in quest to have extreme, a bliss in proof, and proved a very woe, before a joy proposed, behind a dream. All this the world well knows, but none knows well to shun the heaven that leads men to this hell.
When my love swears that she is made of truth, I do believe her, though I know she lies. That she might think me some untutored youth, unlearned in the world's false subtleties, thus vainly thinking that she thinks me young, although she knows my days are past the best. Simply I credit her false-speaking tongue. On both sides thus is simple truth suppressed. But wherefore says she not she is unjust? And wherefore say not I that I am old? Oh, love's best habit is in seeming trust. And age in love loves not to have years told. Therefore I lie with her and she with me, and in our faults by lies we flattered be.
Two loves I have, of comfort and despair, which like two spirits do suggest me still. The better angel is a man right fair, the worser spirit a woman coloured ill. To win me soon to hell, my female evil tempteth my better angel from my side, and would corrupt my saint to be a devil, wooing his purity with her foul pride. And whether that my angel be turned fiend, suspect I may, yet not directly tell, but being both from me, both to each friend, I guess one angel in another's hell. Yet this shall I ne'er know, but live in doubt, till my bad angel fire my good one out.
Poor soul, the centre of my sinful earth, thrall to these rebel powers that thee array. Why dost thou pine and suffer dearth, painting thy outward walls so costly gay? Why so large cost, having so short a least, dost thou upon thy fading mansion spend? Shall worms, inheritors of this excess, eat up thy charge? Is this thy body's end? Then, soul, live thou upon thy servant's loss, and let that pine to aggravate thy store, by terms divine in selling hours of dross, within be fed, without be rich no more. So shalt thou feed on death that feeds on men. And death once dead, there's no more dying then.
The little love god lying once asleep, laid by his side his heart in flaming brand, whilst many nymphs that vowed chaste life to keep came tripping by. But in her maiden hand the fairest votary took up that fire which many legions of true hearts had warmed. And so the general of hot desire was sleeping by a virgin hand disarmed. This brand she quenched in a cool well by, which from love's fire took heat perpetual, growing a bath and healthful remedy for men diseased. But I, my mistress's thrall, came there for cure. And this by that I prove, love's fire heats water, water cools not love.
Love is too young to know what conscience is. Yet who knows not conscience is born of love? Then, gentle cheater, urge not my amiss, lest guilty of my faults thy sweet love prove. For thou betraying me, I do betray my nobler part to my gross body's treason. My soul doth tell my body that he may triumph in love. Flesh stays no farther reason, but rising at thy name doth point out thee as his triumphant prize. Proud of this pride, he is contented thy poor drudge to be, to stand in thy affairs, fall by thy side. No want of conscience hold it that I call her love, for whose dear love I rise and fall.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really hope you enjoyed our Sunday sonnets. A huge thank you must go to Holly Champion, our director, Sam Haft, our stage manager, Michaela Savina, to Arif Samadi, to Emily Stewart-Jones for her artwork, and also Barend New Stratton and Ian Warwick for their wonderful musical contributions. Once again, this performance is dedicated to the late, great Bill Charlton and to George Ogilvy. Now, don't forget to join us this afternoon for our performance of Much Ado About Nothing, which is directed by Maddie Diggins, which begins at 2 p.m. here on the Stream Shakespeare Facebook page. See you then.